You're listening to Achtung Millwall.
Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to a new direction for Achtung Millwall. I'm calling this Achtung Grassroots. It feels a bit of an awkward title, but I couldn't think of anything else in the moment. I've only just decided to do it, so you've got to forgive a bit of pre-planning on it. Joining me is show regular and fan of grassroots football, I think it's fair to say, Michael Avery. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me on, Nick, and hello, listeners.
Now, we're talking specifically about a game that you went to last night. You sent me some really quite nice voicemails from the Erith Derby game. It needs a name, Michael. I know there's the Classico. The Bexley Heathrow or something like that. I don't know. It needs some kind of title. This derby, doesn't it?
El Erifo.
Erith. It's the Erith Derby played at Erith Town's ground, which is what's the name of the sports centre where they play, Michael? Erith Town.
It's called like the sort of Erith Arena. It's literally just next door to the Erith Leisure Centre. So
Erith Leisure Centre. So there we are.
Yeah.
Let's run the voicemails. Michael sent me these from the game last night, and then we'll come back after those to talk about the non-league scene.
Achtung Millwall.
And so we've arrived for today's game between Erith Town and Erith and Belvedere, the home team in their red and black stripes, and the away side in their sort of well-known blue and white, but a slight different sash than in previous times. I think this got to do with the rebrand we spoke about recently. Good little turnout for both sides, crowd-wise. And even though we've got one speaker, which may not be the quality of Mr. Bye for now, he's pumping out a few bangers, isn't he, before the game? Not long now till kick-off. We've got the two of the three AV juniors with me. So what do we think the score will be today?
1-0.
1-0. Very conservative, like his dad. What do you think?
2-1.
2-1 to which one?
To Erith Town.
Erith Town. So we're going for the home side. So up the Dockers, up the Deers, because we need to be impartial when we're in this game. More at half-time. Half-time here at the Erith Stadium, and it's currently Erith Town 0, Erith and Belvedere 0. It's awfully strange doing this without Mill involved, but I feel like a bit more of a roaming reporter. Good game so far, to be fair. It's a lovely little stadium, really nice little sheltered stand with an awful lot of people in for a sort of midweek non-league game, which is really, really good to see. Also as well, it's £8 to get in. The concession's got a rate as well, and under 16s are free, dear listener, free to get in for children. So, as we've said on the show a number of times, if you are a fan of the non-league, it's a great day out for the family. Already seen a few people I know, and I didn't even know were coming, so it was good to catch up with a few people. Back to the game itself, good game between the two sides, really, really lively so far. The keeper's not been tested too much, but Erith and Belvedere are the better side. They've had more opportunities, they've hit the side netting, and they're getting down the right wing a lot better. So there's a lot to do here for the home side. A little bit torn as to who to go for, really, because I do like Erith Town, lovely little setup, but also like Erith and Belvedere. So, yeah, I feel like I'm a bit of a neutral, you know, or I feel like in Friends, every time Ross gets a new girlfriend and he looks at Rachel, what does he do? Who does he go with? You know, but no, it's been a really good game, really enjoyable, and looking forward to the second half. Up the Dockers, up the Deers. The second half is barely 2 minutes old, and we've had our first goal of the game, dear listener. It is 1-0 to Erith and Belvedere. A penalty was awarded for a late challenge in the penalty area. It was a penalty. There was no real complaints from Erith Town, and the chap from Erith and Belvedere, apologies, I can't see their shirt numbers from here. He slots it in the bottom corner. So. Looks like they've continued that pressure and that hard work from the first half. They actually came out just before the second half whistle, should I say. Looked a bit sharper with their warming up and keeping fresh. And I think with the way the game's going, Erith and Belvedere deserve the lead. So 1-0 to the away side. Up the Deers in this instance. Second goal of the game goes to Erith and Belvedere. So it's 2-0 to the away side. Big cheer from a number of people in the stands, and also a lot of groans from the home stands. Really, really, really nice goal there from Erith, to be fair. Erith from Belvedere. Nice break down the left-hand side. Drops his shoulder, goes to the byline, cuts it back, and the centre-forward bangs it into the roof of the net. Fantastic goal. Really, really well taken. Really, really good goal for this level. And Erith and Belvedere rightly are 2-0 up. So come on the Deers. Full time at the Erith Stadium, and it finishes Erith Town 0, Erith and Belvedere 2. A really, really good second half. Really, really lively with some great football. As we said, we had the penalty and the goal for Erith and Belvedere. We also had one disallowed for offside. Some big tackles going in. Good performances by the referees and the officials. Good to see that. But also, more importantly as well, a really good account from both sides. Erith Town had a wonderful move from a corner right in injury time. Well struck volley that was pushed very well wide by the goalkeeper to keep a clean sheet, and just a great game here. Really enjoyable. Can't really recommend this enough, really. This is definitely a ground that I'll be coming to again. It's not going to lie, it's slightly more old-fashioned than St Paul's and perhaps Parkview Road, and it feels like a sort of English urban version of one of the Italian 90 stadiums with the running track on the outside. But really enjoyable day, really good fun. And yeah, get down here and support these non-league clubs the best you can if you're local. And remember, we've got Fisher FC too, so yeah, good advert for the non-league. Common New Lions, but in this instance up the Deers and up the Dockers. We're here currently with the Erith and Belvedere manager Danny Murphy. Great game today, wasn't it? Great game this evening.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's a difficult place to come. People are so far away from the pitch, and when the ball goes out of play, it can be out of play for a long period of time. And yeah, it is difficult because the game gets slow, so it's hard to retain momentum the whole time.
Yeah.
No, listen, the boys did great tonight. Kept a clean sheet, which is something we've been trying to do over the last few weeks. So massively important to us moving forward.
Yeah, because looking at your results over the last few weeks, you've had a couple of 3-1s, a 5-1. You had a 3-1 in the cup as well, didn't you? And you went through to the next round. Was it in extra time?
Yeah,
a little while back. So the problem ain't the scoring the goals, obviously, and with the goals you're scoring, the ones you can see, they ain't a massive issue. But it's good to get the clean sheet and a local little derby and all, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's massively important for us as a team to keep clean sheets. I mean, because as the season goes on, they're going to be important that we're able to do that. And winning games is the habit, and keeping clean sheets is also. So I've been massively pushing the boys to keep clean sheets this year, because it's something we feel that we could do better on than we did last year. And
we're about to get run over by a temporary dugout. That's why it's in the background there.
I think for us, it's been important to keep clean sheets and make sure that we don't concede too many goals. And I think we always look like a threat we're going to score. It's just having that consistency.
Yeah, you was never really under any real trouble, except for at the end when they had that nice dipping volley that the keeper pushed nicely around the post. Nice, good couple of goals. Looks good going into the game. I know you've got a game in Tunbridge Wells, but you've also got the Glebe game coming soon, haven't you? So that's going to be a big one. Yeah,
I mean, look, it's an important game. Every game's important, and every game's a big game for us at the moment. And playing Glebe, are a team who have scored a lot of goals themselves, and they're decent. They've got some good players. Play a decent style of football, and it'll only be a good game against us because they're aggressive in the way they play. We are also, and with both teams playing that way, it'll set us up for a good game.
Yeah, no, true, and it was one everyone to look forward to. Final one now, just for you, because I appreciate you're busy. A couple of years it's been really stop-start with the COVID thing. Good to see some fans back in the ground. What does it mean playing back in front of fans properly? And also, what can you say to the listeners listening to this who are a little bit, should you come and watch Erith and Belvedere, what are they going to get from your games?
I think they're going to get plenty of goals, and they're going to get a lot of excitement. And we've got some really good young talent here that could potentially go on to bigger and better things. And come down here, watch them, and say, "Oh, I watched them play there." I mean, we've got some players here in this team, like 5 or 6 boys under the age of 21, who could potentially go on to League One and Championship sides with the ability they've got. And I think for me, it's come out and watch them at a local level and show it isn't all about getting kids to go off to a pro club to earn their stripes and earn where they need to be in a few years' time. And I think that being at this level, more young kids need to do it.
Yeah.
More young kids need to take that opportunity, and when it's given to them, do what the boys are doing here, where they're grabbing it with both hands because they want to do well.
Yeah, lovely stuff.
No worries.
Brilliant. Good luck this season, mate.
Cheers.
Adam, so disappointing 2-0 home defeat today, but to be fair, Erith and Belvedere are a good little side, didn't they? And I think considering the way they knocked the ball around, I think you was in the game for large periods. Would you agree?
Yeah, I just think we. I thought first half we done all right, changed the system a little bit, but we just pressed the self-destruct button. We come out after 2 minutes. miss the first header, man's going away from goal, and we just dive in and give a penalty away. It's how it's been all season really with us. We just make silly mistakes at silly times.
Yeah, I think I have to agree there. It probably weren't the best start to the second half. First half, I thought you contained them quite well, even though you could probably argue that Erith and Belvedere did edge it. But I did think even after the 2 goals, you were actually starting to get more in the game, and you was unlucky with that strike late in injury time, weren't you?
Yeah, but it's again, like I said to the players, they've huffed and puffed, but we've got 6 or 7 out at the moment that are massive for us. And when you've not got them players, it's hard, it's tough.
Yeah. You're currently around the sort of mid-table at the moment, aren't you? Do you think when you get those players back, you'll see a improvement in the results and how we
We haven't been able to play our strongest side yet so far. So obviously missing Andy Walker, the goalkeeper tonight. Dan Nash, our right back. We had a 16-year-old play right back. We've got Ryan McCall out at centre half. We've got Harry Gamble out missing.
The bottom.
Yeah, Harry Gamble missing from centre midfield, alongside Danny Gannon, Fred Abassa. The list just keeps going on. Jack Fenton. So like I said, we've got 6 or 7 out injured, and they're big players for us, and it's hard for us to get any consistency going with players missing.
Yeah, no, you're right, and you've got you've got a positive where you've done well in the FA Cup a little while ago. I believe have you got just Fisher just been announced as an opponent in the future?
Yeah, Fisher. Yeah, so they've been announced today, so that'll be a good tough game. AJ's get some working hard, but we've just got to improve on 1, getting players back, and 2, some quality would be nice.
Yeah. And just finally before we go, I had a chat with the Erith and Belvedere manager just before speaking with you. It's been a stop-start couple of years because of the old COVID pandemic. Good to see the fans back in. And what can you say to the fans who are listening to this who think maybe I might nip down to Erith Town and see how they get on?
Yes, we're trying obviously as hard as we can as a community club to get people through the door. Obviously, it's always hard when you don't own your own ground and things like that, and we are fighting with one arm to be hopefully back with no bar, which ain't great, but that's out of our hands. Nothing we can do about that. It's just poor from whoever runs the building.
Yeah. Blame the leisure centre keeping people fit for shutting the bar down, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
No, right. Good luck this season, and I hope to see you again. See you, mate. Yeah.
Achtung, Millwall.
Welcome back, dear listener. I really enjoyed listening to those, Michael. Well done. Thank you for sending them through to me. I really appreciate that.
No, that's no problem at all. And I'll tell you what, I said it a couple of times to you last night, and I put it in the voice notes. I'm a fan of grassroots football as it is, so I do tend to go there slightly with rose-tinted glasses. But last night's game was a real good quality game with both sides who really, considering it's sort of like a sort of semi-pro level and the stereotypical, you don't really sort of support these teams. They're not your first clubs.
No.
There was a lot of people there, so we had nearly 200, which for a sort of midweek game, in the evening, like it finishes 9:30, 10 o'clock. It's a good turn. Nearly a full stand, a local derby, and some really, really good football, some good tackles. I'd have to say Erith and Belvedere did slightly nick it out of 2. I said in my voice notes I have a bit of an allegiance because I'm literally right smack in the middle of the two clubs.
Yeah.
And I know some of the backroom staff of both of them quite well, so obviously I always look out for both. But fantastic game. Erith and Belvedere, they're currently top of the league at the moment. 4 wins from 4. They're through to the next round of the FA Cup preliminary round, so they've had an exceptional start, and they showed their quality definitely.
And one of the purposes of doing these, listeners, I thought about doing this for some time, then kind of various things, COVID, and then my own health got in the way of doing it. But I'm really pleased to be able to give a little bit of coverage, Michael, to clubs like Erith Town, Erith and Belvedere. We've mentioned Fisher on the show previously, and there will be others that I want to give a little bit of coverage to over the course of the season. Glebe, I'm thinking of, and others. It's really nice to be able to give some support coverage and maybe encourage 1 or 2 fans to get along to a game, whether it's at the weekends when Mill are away or something, or midweek games, however it pans out for people. It'd just be nice to try and put a few people through the doors, get that 180 up to 200. I don't know, something like that. Just get a few bodies on site. 'Cause these clubs do fantastic work. It struck me with your post-match interviews with both the managers there. They're real starting points for a lot of players' careers, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And speaking to the manager from from Erith and Belvedere, he was really praising his team, and
Danny
watching
Murphy,
the
I think
game,
it was, yeah.
Danny Murphy, you could see from the quality that the players had that they were a good side. I mean, I've literally just got the league table up in front of me now. So as I said, they've won 4 from 4. They've scored 13 goals in 4 games, and they've only conceded 3. So after 4 games, they've got a goal difference of +10. And to be fair to them, this is how brilliant they are. And we'll touch on what they're like with the fans as well. Was that even though you sort of half know them, and we sent them an email to see what we could do. I literally went up to Danny after the game and I was like, "Look, can I just get a couple of words, a little interview?"
Words. Yeah.
Yeah, and he sat there and he stood with me, and we had this really long interview on how the team's preparing, how he sees the team going, the standard of his players, and also with Erith Town as well. You think it's a non-league game, it's a disappointing result for them. As the manager said, Woody, they've got about 6 or 7 players out for whatever reason. He didn't go into detail, but he still found the time to sort of talk to us, to tell us how it's going, what it means to him, and how he started off. He said, like, Erith Town's very much a community team. They want to represent the area, and Erith and Belvedere, like Danny was saying as well, they've got a lot of young talented players who he's actually sort of nailed his colours to the mast, and he said that they're probably capable of being in high levels of English football. Which, if you're only paying less than a tenner to watch these type of players, why wouldn't you go down there?
That really struck me. I thought that was like quote of the show in a sense, because I think I'm really interested to get along to some of these games this season. I will be getting myself down to some of the grounds as the season progresses. But that quote really struck me because during the European Championships in the summer, I mean, some of the England players, there was a piece I saw somewhere, I can't remember where, but it showed their originating clubs, often from different parts of the country, Michael, but they're often the Erith towns of their area, wherever you go, up and down the length and breadth of the country. And it is so important. The grassroots is so vital for the game. And we've all been through COVID. We all know about that. But the knock that the game has taken generally, I'm just really keen to try and do whatever we can to give some support to it, because it's such a vital part of the jigsaw of English football, isn't it?
It really is. And when I spoke to Erith Town's chairman, Mark Bevaney, a fantastic guy, really puts a lot of effort in at Millwall, with Millwall Supporters Club and the local area, and with Erith as well. And I remember you spoke with him, Nick, you sent him an email, and you said within sort of 10, 15 minutes he was back to you. He's really, really keen on what he does. But I remember I would just touch base with him during the pandemic, and he was like, he's got his actual job as well that he does along with the chairman role, but he's like, we've got to find money for this. We've got to do this work. We've got to do that work. I turned up at the gate yesterday. I've not been to Erith Town before. I tried to get down there obviously last season before the pandemic hit. The chairman is manning the turnstile to get people in.
It's
and this is where it's and this is where it's such a sort of community feel to it. He's the chairman of the club, is meeting fans on the door. And it's just a fantastic feeling.
That's heart raises the spirits. It gives a sense of the heart of English football. These clubs deserve support, and I'm just looking at the same league table. Both teams are in the Southern Counties East Football League, which I think, Michael, is what they call steps 5 and 6. I can't remember how it works now, but they will feed into I guess, what's the one above that? Would that be Isthmian League above?
Yeah, and then that's when it starts becoming sort of Varnarama national level.
Yeah, so you're up into semi-pro kind of level at that point, aren't you? But this would be voluntary stuff, wouldn't it, at this level anyway?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, when we went to get a drink, I took my 2 boys with me. They're in the voice notes with their little predictions, but it was like they've got like their little area where they've got their little merchandise as well. So you've got. You've got voluntary staff man and all that kind of thing, and do you know what's really weird, Nick? It's everyone loves the pro game, and everyone likes watching the Euros, as you say, the World Cups and the Champions Leagues and all these. But there's just something so humbling about these lower levels that makes you want to come back for more. I remember a couple of years ago when Millwall, I can't remember who we was under, but we was having a torrid season, and I actually said, half tongue in cheek, there's a chap I sit with, and his nephew played for Dover on loan, and they played well in. I actually said that the way I felt that entire season watching Millwall, the best game of football I saw that year was at Welling Dover, because of that sort of feeling to it and around it, and what you get, and just the actual, going back to the actual game itself, Erith Town were missing a number of players, and they're playing against a team who are now, top of the tree. But they just kept on going. They just kept on driving. And I think that Woody says it in the post-match as well. I think they had like a 16, 17-year-old at fullback. He didn't really look too out of place. He looked like he was holding his own well. And you're saying about the Glebes games that are coming up soon. I think in the next 2 weeks, I mentioned it to Danny Murphy, but Erith are currently top of the tree, 4 wins from 4, as we said, with their goal difference.
Absolutely.
Glebe are a game in hand, 3 wins from 3 with a nearly identical goal difference. So what a fixture that's going to be already.
Got to give. You're right, Erith and Belvedere topped the table after that 2-0 win last night against their local rivals, Erith Town. Sheppey United sitting in second. I mean, this is another thing, Michael. I mean, I'm just looking at the names. This is Southern Counties, so these are all Kent-based sides. I think maybe Sussex. I think there's Crowborough Athletic down near the bottom of the table there. So that you're going to have the Kent/Sussex kind of region there. I'm guessing. But I mean, these are all local sides for listeners. I mean, if you can get yourself along there, the benefit to the game is immense. Sheppey in second, Glebe are based in Chislehurst at Foxbury Avenue, I think, Michael.
Yeah, that's right.
Kennington, I think, are Kent's side. I'd have to look them up. Chatham Town will, and so it goes on. Deal, Erith Town again, Tunbridge Wells, and so on and so forth. Fisher. These are sides that are nearby, and they just benefit so much from any support that you can give, dear listeners. Erith Town sitting in 8th position, 2 wins and 2 losses from their opening 4 games of the season. Fantastic stuff. I really enjoyed listening to the voice notes you did on the game last night. Did the kids enjoy it, Michael? Did they like it?
Do you know what? They absolutely loved it. And this was another point I touched on in the voice note. But if you think about it, so we used the example with last night, and I know that sometimes as a Mill sports club that's meant to be focusing, or even like a sort of fan base or a podcast that's meant to be sort of focusing on Millwall, you might get some people go, well, why are you advertising other people? Okay, we get that point. Last night, there was absolutely no Millwall last night, no football, no under-23s, no Lionesses, no anything. But by having an association with Millwall, I managed to take myself and my 2 sons in to watch a semi-pro game of football that ended 2-0 with a load of action for a £5.
And it's just round the corner,
And it's just round the corner. It's literally 10 minutes from me, and the boys loved it. And I said it in the voice note. I turned up there, had no intention of like sort of meeting anyone else. There's about 8 or 9 people I know live around the corner. They just fancied it as well. So they brought their children along. My boys were playing with them. At half time, the boys went out and sort of like was kicking the football around. Two of the substitutes come along and started kicking the football with the boys.
But that's football
that's amazing.
That's football as it should be, and that's fantastic to hear that, because that's how the hook of football gets into youngsters, and they want to follow the game for the rest of their lives. I hope anyway, and that's the beauty of it. That's what it should be all about. I'm just looking at the weekend fixtures, because part of the intention of this podcast is to try and get some bums on seats, or feet on terraces, or whatever the case may be. I'm just looking at Saturday's games. There's FA Cup preliminary round. I'm seeing Erith Town actually away on Saturday at Sevenoaks Town versus Erith in the FA Cup prelim round. Fisher are in the Premier Division of the SCEFL. They're at home to Welling Town. And I saw Erith and Belvedere on Sunday game. That'll be at Parkview Road. That's quite a nice looking fixture for anyone nearby, Michael. Erith and Belvedere versus AFC Croydon. It's an FA Cup preliminary round. It's a 4 o'clock kickoff at let's call it Welling United's ground. It's Parkview Road. Everyone will know where that is. And then midweek we've got Fisher versus Glebe on Tuesday night, and then it's weekend fixtures, Erith and Belvedere next week. So there's some tasty looking fixtures there, and it'd be great if we could do something just to get a few bums on seats at these clubs going forwards.
But it's interesting as well, because as you say about getting bums on seats, because I remember a couple of years ago, basically Erith and Belvedere, their backroom staff, we dropped them an email, and I've said it before about they did something with the kids with the local scout club.
Yeah.
Now, what they did, they let all the scouts in for free, as I probably said before. They gave them a tour of the stadium. They gave them a tour of the dressing room. One of the kids actually said to the goalkeeper of Erith and Belvedere, "Oh, your goalkeeper gloves are cool." and the bloke signed them and gave them to the kid. The kid was absolutely elated, that kind of thing. But the kid didn't ask for me. He just said they was like a sort of nice colour. He's only a young boy, and he was excited with it. But ironically, they you mentioned about the Fisher game next Saturday. They played against Crowborough Athletic. Now Fisher have got Crowborough Athletic, and now I'm sort of looking at it thinking they weren't a bad side, Crowborough. I wonder how Fisher get on. So just by going to watch these games, or if you go to a few, you'll instantly start looking at other teams and go, I remember them. I remember they had a decent centre forward, or I remember their right back had a good game, for example. So then you start building up your knowledge of the non-league. And you say as well, so you've got I'm not saying everyone all of a sudden just start going to non-league football.
You go
but
occasionally, whenever you want to.
Yeah. So, but like with the Fisher game on Saturday, Millwall are all the way in Cardiff. So if you're nearby, Fisher have got Wellington on your doorstep if you're nearby. A great game. But then when you actually, like you say, you have a look and you actually look at that FA preliminary round with Erith and Belvedere, they're bringing out their club mascots and everything like that. They're advertising for kids to come along and everything like that. And as I say, non-league football is such a sort of family affair, I think, because yes, you enjoy the pro game, yes, you enjoy all the skills and the tricks and all stuff like that. But as we've said before, there's not many places you can go, I might buy a pint and sit and watch the game, without threat of being kicked out by a steward, or that kind of stuff. And they're just good things to have little connections to. I mean, Millwall fans have always historically had sort of two teams. We've always used to have an eye out for the old Fisher Athletic. But, where more people are now sort of changing where they're going to or the areas they live in, I cannot literally see for the life of me why people don't think, do you know what, I'll nip down to so-and-so and watch them play. Especially when you've got teams like Glebe and Sheppey who are really sort of pumping some money in and trying to do some good things.
I'm just looking at the Monday bank holiday fixtures, listeners. I mean, the fixtures are all over Kent. So you've got games at Bearstead, at Canterbury. But I'm looking at a home fixture for Erith Town, the one that we're featuring, where we've got the links with Erith Town versus Holmesdale, and I think they're a Bromley-based side, if memory serves. Michael. Fisher at home to Tower Hamlets. This is all SCEFL fixtures. And then Welling Town at Tunbridge Wells. There's a range of fixtures to be had on Bank Holiday Monday, and I'll stick links on the post when we put it out, and I'll stick links in the show notes for this particular show. But for there's I don't think Millwall playing on Bank Holiday Monday, so why not get yourself out? And if you want to see a game, there it is. You can do a lot of good by attending these clubs. I know they'll all be grateful for the support. That was one of the things that struck me in your interviews last night, mate.
Yeah, and they are, and they appreciate people being there, and they appreciate people watching them. And as they said, it's a really good springboard, because if you could get some players, can't you, who might have a good run in like an under-23 pro team. You put him in front of the sort of you put him in the first team in front of the fans, and he'll absolutely freeze.
Yeah.
So you've got players who, yes, fair enough, 200 last night or just under 200 may not be the 1,000 you expect, but it's still 200 fans in a local derby. So this 16-year-old fullback who, the Erith Town manager said was obviously filling a place, he's got that experience now of playing in these type of games, and that'll only help him get better and better. So, yeah, get down there, support these teams, and a lot of the time, because you don't have the allegiance you have with a professional team, you might find you enjoy the game more. Yes. Yeah, you might find you actually enjoy the game more because you've not got no real affiliation to who wins or loses.
That's a novel idea, enjoying the game of football in front of you.
God forbid, eh? God forbid.
That's wonderful stuff, Michael. I really hope that we can continue to do these across the course of the season. I certainly intend to get myself out to one or two clubs as the months pass. And we'll put links to all of the clubs, the respective clubs that we're talking about in these shows, in the social media and in the show notes. I just want to say a big thank you to Mike. I've tapped you up for a couple of days running now from during the working days. I really appreciate your time.
No, that's all right.
And your time today.
I'll send me invoice in, mate, for you in the next couple of days. That you know what it's going to cost you.
Oh, thank you for listening, dear listeners. I hope you've enjoyed this. Do let us know if you like it, or whatever you think of it, really. And until the weekend, it's goodbye from myself. Goodbye from Michael.
Goodbye for now, listeners.
Arrivederci Millwall. Or Arrivederci Grassroots. Thank you for listening.